here we go. We're going to be going over week 1 games, starting off with our headliner for the start of Saturday, Ohio State versus Texas. Ohio State won this game 14-7. I would say the biggest key point throughout the game is Arch just getting absolutely demolished by the offense or by the defense of Ohio State. Matt Patricia, who I was very worried about throughout the start of the game and the week coming, it was going to be a very long time until I figured out if Ohio State was going to be good on defense, and I kind of figured it out instantaneously this week. And for me as a Michigan fan, I hate to say that this is a good thing for them, but it is a great thing for them that their defense looks amazing so far. Now, what I will say is Texas could run the ball all day long if they really wanted to against Ohio State. There were times where they weren't pushing for it, but at the end of the day, Texas could run the ball if they really wanted to, and they just gave up on it at times. There was some weird things that Sark was doing. He wasn't doing as many motions as he was last year. I don't know if that's just the new offense it's going to be, but it seems like he kind of strayed away from his normal offense that Stark would usually go through against a normal team like this, Ohio State. A lot of motions, and it was just very interesting to see how this offense has changed already under week 1. We'll see if it stays the same or if he goes back to being more of a motion type of team. Julian Sayin in his first game at Ohio State, his receivers dropped a lot of passes. That's not on him at all. This game could have been a little bit different on the score sheet. It could have been 21-7 if Ohio State was just catching the ball. At some point, it kind of looked like they were in their hands. It was just not, I don't know what was happening. Even Jeremiah Smith was having a hard time, but it's all right. They won the game. It doesn't matter. They got Grambling State and Ohio University before they have any Big Ten play. They got time. They got tons of time before Penn State. Anyway, so good things are looking up for Ohio State. It looks like they will be moving up to another tier soon, but not yet. We're just going to wait. On the other side of the spectrum, we got Florida State with a gigantic upset against Alabama. This was probably the game of the week. If you really look back on it, at week, on week 14, you're going to be looking back on what the hell happened in week 1. You're going to remember this game. Bama getting upset by Florida State. Tommy Castellanos had an outstanding, stellar game. He was just running it when he needed to. He only had 78 rushing yards, but they felt like 1,000. And that's the key point of this game. He really did everything he needed to do. He backed up everything that he said. And it makes you really think, wow, what a game. What a different team this is in just a matter of a year. The transfer portal did huge things just because of this. They got great receivers. They had a great defense. And honestly, in the beginning, I would say the defense was the biggest change. You could just see the team was so much more physical throughout the game. I was absolutely amazed. But at the end of the day, Ty Simpson had 254 yards. You can't complain about that. He did everything he tried to do and everything he needed to do to try and win that game. It was just 2 for 5 on 4th down is kind of hard to do. You had a lot of possessions that ended in FSU territory that ended with 0 points. At the end of the day, congratulations to Florida State. Alabama, you got tons of time left throughout the season to try and come back and make the playoff. You got tons of time. Next game, we are going to LSU versus Clemson. This was a very interesting game. LSU won this game 17-10. My biggest takeaway, Clemson only had 31 rushing yards. At the time, at the end of the game, it was 32, but they must have dropped one. But 31 rushing yards, they were averaging 1.6 yards per rush. Absolutely horrific stat line. You can't do too much if that's going to be the way the season works. I don't think you could beat Florida State if that was the way the season ran, if you guys were just doing this. I had so much hype for Clemson this year. I mean, we still have tons of time. Just like I said for Alabama, we have tons of time. I just don't know what's going to happen here. Harold Perkins is back for LSU. Congratulations to LSU. They looked great. What was it? Adrian Arnold or something like that, number 1. He was having a stellar game. I think he had 99 receiving yards. He was killing it throughout the whole time. And then they had the 6'7", 6'5" receiver who caught the game-winning touchdown at the end of the day, but at the time it was just a leading touchdown. Absolutely insane stuff for LSU. I expect them to do good things, especially since we really don't know anything about the SEC. Georgia played Marshall. Uh, didn't I mean it was Marshall at the end of the day. We can't just say, you know what, Georgia, you know what, you're a great team. You probably are going to be a title contender off the way you looked against Marshall. So I would say, as of now, LSU looks like one of those top tier teams in the SEC, but we still have tons of time to see. Things can change. No one's playing conference games yet for the SEC till next week, or this upcoming week now. Now let's get into one of our Thursday games. Nebraska versus Cincinnati. Nebraska won this game 20-17. At the end of the day, no one's going to remember this game. They probably already forgot it. Let's be honest. Everyone's probably forgot this game. But I would say if you look back on this, Nebraska doesn't look too good. It didn't look amazing, but year 2 under Matt or year 3 under Matt Rule, we're expecting good things to happen. This is a win. It's a good thing. It's a great thing. But 7 yards per carry from Cincinnati, only 69 passing yards, and kept this game close, literally to the last drive. Thank goodness, what was his name? Sorsby only threw 13 for 25. A lot of the games, he was just running. He was just running on his feet, and he was just getting yards. Cincinnati had the whole game in their hands. They could have just not thrown that pass and probably kicked the field goal and went to overtime. And at that point, it could have been a just run it down your throat type of game, and Cincinnati could have won it. This is the one time where you just expect Nebraska to just power through and just win the game by a lot and show that they're a dominant team. But I guess you got to win small to start off the season. You know, as Joel Klatt always said about those Michigan teams before, you always lose close, and then you got to flip it to winning close. You got to win those close games. And Nebraska did it right here, and that's a very key point of this. Dylan Raiola had 33 passes for 42 attempts. He had 243 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. I would expect this is only going to grow. It's just going to get better before that Michigan game. But that's going to be a very big leaning point throughout the season here. Week 4. How's that going to go? Is Michigan going to be able to just run through Nebraska's face the whole time? Because 7 yards per carry is a lot. And I thought this defense was going to be great. We don't know yet for sure, but this game's coming up. It's coming up quick. We also have to see how Michigan does. They only played New Mexico and kind of had a hard time with them, but we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about another noon game here, Tennessee versus Syracuse. 45-26, Joey Aguilar had 247 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, but the running game was just as impressive. They had Star Thomas and Deshaun Bishop, averaged over 80 yards combined. I think it was like near 170 combined total rushing yards between the two of them. That's just impressive. They put 450 yards combined. Whoa. Turn it down. Let's talk about another noon game here. We got Tennessee putting on the hurt against Syracuse. At the end of the day, were we surprised about this one? They were trying to make a statement here. They were trying to show that it was not Nico who needed to be here. It was Nico needed to be here so he could have a good career. Joey Aguilar had 247 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and then their rushing game had 248 total rushing yards. At the end of the day, team was just putting it on them. You can't be upset with them. They needed to make that statement, and then they hate watched the next game, the Utah versus, I'm not even going to have it on here, Utah versus UCLA. It was sad to see. It was sad to watch Nico go and play with this team, but at the end of the day, UCLA, very hard team to play with. They weren't tackling that well. Utah is a gritty team, and it's going to show you what the Big Ten is going to taste like, and that's what it was. It was bad. It was not good at all. They put the absolute hurt on them. Let's see here. Devin Dampier had 206 yards, 2 touchdowns, 87 rushing yards, and 1 touchdown for rushing. Utah's team had 4 sacks. I don't think UCLA had a single sack. Nico, he had 136 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and he led the team in rushing yards. He himself led the team in rushing yards with 47 rushing yards. Utah had 493 total yards on offense. UCLA had 220. And UCLA went 2 for 11 on offense. On third down. But what a hard game. It's going to be total switch up, but it's going to be a storyline for, at least 2 or 3 weeks before people just forget about what happened in Nico and what happened in that offseason. But let's get to a fun game, a really close game. Let's talk about Notre Dame versus Miami. Notre Dame versus Miami. I think the beginning of the game, CJ Carr was kind of on watch. They were not letting him throw or do anything that they wanted to do. They were just running screen passes. The majority of that first quarter, they did not trust something about him. They also didn't give it to Jeremiah Love, which is very interesting to say. Best running back on the team didn't want to give him the ball at all. Very weird. Very, very weird. They gave it to him at times. He looked great at those times. They just didn't give it to him enough, I thought. I don't know why it says 27-10 there. I just hit some shit, but it doesn't matter. Carson Beck, absolutely stunning to watch. He was getting out of the pocket, making plays last a little bit longer, and then throwing bombs. And when he was, usually it was causing touchdowns. Actually, CJ Carr did the same thing a couple times. But the one play from Miami with the Odell Beckham catch, huge. I think the key point in this game was that pick, the interception where it bounced off their cornerback's foot and their defensive end caught the ball and ran it to the 20-yard line. That was the play of the game. That single-handedly, I think, ended the game right there. Notre Dame came and scored and then had the ball at the end of the game, but still, it was very hard to see. I did not expect that way of a turnout. But good for Miami. It shows that they have a defense, and it shows that they can win those gritty games and not have to score 45 points. But they could. I think they really can. Now, this one is just a little bit of payback to one of my commenters on my TikTok video saying that Auburn could not run it down Baylor's throat, and instead they did. They put the hurt on them. Let me find my paper here. Jackson Arnold's first game with Auburn, 108 passing yards, 137 rushing yards with 2 touchdowns. Auburn in total, had 308 rushing yards. Baylor had 419 passing yards with Sawyer Robinson having 3 touchdowns, and Baylor only totaled out to 64 rushing yards. At the end of the day, rushing does matter more than passing, I would say. Unless you're killing it, absolutely killing it in the passing game, it's going to be very, very iffy, I think, personally. For your team to win those games by just passing alone, you have to run the ball. It chews up the clock a little bit more, and it kind of beats down that defensive line. Anyway, Auburn got lucky with a kick return that went for a touchdown. Again, it made the game a little bit closer, made the game a lot more fun, but at the end of the day, 38-24, what a game, what a game. Some games that, maybe we can go to this one here. USF put the hurt on Boise State. I just like this image. It's kind of funny to me. I'm not surprised. USF had a great quarterback last year. He just got hurt, and so no one was expecting too much. I think it was just group of 5. No one really talking about the group of 5 and just expecting Boise State to be good again. Maddox Munson had a great game. He did good. He did what he was supposed to do. But still, only threw 54%. He had 3 turnovers as well. The team had 3 turnovers for Boise. But Byron Brown, 210 passing yards and 2 touchdowns is the main part of the game, I'd say, as well as 3 turnovers. 3 turnovers is huge. But speaking of 3 turnovers, Georgia Tech versus Colorado. Absolutely insane shit. Georgia Tech had 3 turnovers in the half. In the first half, they had 3 turnovers. Gave the ball to Colorado. At the end of that half, Georgia Tech was leading 13-10. Absolutely insane. If they just get that down, there could be a really good team here. Caden Salter had a great game, though. 159 passing yards, 43 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. He looked great. He looked dangerous. But Haynes King absolutely balled out. He had 156 rushing yards, 143 passing yards, and 3 total touchdowns. But at the end of the day, it's all about rushing to me. Georgia Tech had 320 rushing yards. Colorado only had 146. It's not the end of the world, but you can see why Michigan-Ohio State games, the winner always has the most rushing yards. It's all that matters. So now let's talk about the biggest game in week 2 here. It's going to be Michigan number 14 versus Oklahoma number 18. Oklahoma 5.5 point favorite. It's going to be fun to see. The spread is 46.5. Now, the game's key point is quarterback play. It's going to be a transfer quarterback, John Mateer, versus freshman quarterback, Bryce Underwood, and a true freshman quarterback to be it. Bryce looked good in his first game. Michigan was impressed on just the fact alone that he could throw the ball. Michigan really hasn't had to see that in a long time. It's been a while. I mean, J.J. McCarthy was the last quarterback to be able to throw the ball for more than 100 yards, I would say. I think maybe one time Michigan last year had 100 passing yards, but it doesn't matter. Very interesting things that happened in the New Mexico game for Michigan. They gave up 200 yards passing. I was shocked to see this. Now, granted, some very interesting refereeing situations happened in that game. I'm not going to get into it, but John Mateer looked amazing in his game against the Sisters of the Poor. They looked amazing. They 35-3, I believe the game was. He was just slinging it. They threw the ball pretty much the whole time. But Michigan had a good run game. The interesting thing about Oklahoma's game, they let up 100 yards rushing. Very interesting for the Sisters of the Poor. I mean, unless they're just running the wing tee the whole time, it's just going to be neat to see how the defense does. Who's going to give up just a crazy play, and will Bryce Young do these 3 things? And this is the only 3 things that they can do to win this game here. Bryce has to, 1, become a playmaker. He has to escape the pocket, make some amazing plays, and show why he is that number 1 overall player in that recruiting cycle last year. 2, he's going to have to take some reads in the option. I know he wasn't doing it, but I felt like he was going to pull those if it was a bigger game, a more important game. I think he's going to show some read options are going to be key for him in this offense this year. And number 3, he's just going to have to keep continuing to pass good. He was throwing lasers, and I know those the receivers were open. But let's be honest here. It felt weird to me to see a Michigan quarterback throw a ball so accurately. And I might just be high, but I'm not high. I'm watching this and I'm like, wow, Michigan can throw the football. They play New Mexico. We're freaking out over this game. They play New Mexico. But can they do it against Oklahoma? If they do, I could see them winning this game. John Mateer just has to play John Mateer football. Oklahoma might have to run the football. You need to have these teams be 2-dimensional teams. You can't have these teams be a little underdimensional. It will be fun to see. I personally want Michigan 5.5. I can't take the spread. Or a money line game. I can't pick them. Just give me Michigan plus 5.5, and I'll be happy. This game may be a 20-20 game, and Zavada hits a field goal from 65 yards and calls it game. I could be fine with that. I can live with that. That's realistic to me. But that's it for me on that part. Now let's go to another great game. Illinois versus Duke. This is not a basketball ACC Big Ten matchup. This is going to be fun to see. These are 2 teams that make the playoff every year in basketball, not so much in football. Duke has Tulane transfer Darian Mensah, who had a great game yesterday against Luke Altmaier. Another game between transfer portal quarterback and a quarterback who stayed with the team the whole time. I think the biggest factor in this game, and you're going to come and look at me like I'm a dumbass and go, wow, what a surprise, Drew. But I think the key of the game here is going to be Illinois running the football. And I think that Illinois has a better offensive line than Duke does defensive line, and they're just going to push this team down the field and be marching all the way. The question is, can Dario Mensah play hero football similar to Tommy Castellanos? No, I don't think so. I think Duke is going to win this game. Illinois is going to win this game. Give me Illinois -3.5. Another very fun game here. I'm not even going to show the screen for this one. Texas versus San Jose State. The spread's 35.5 for Texas. I am expecting Arch to sound off. It's time for him to let things loose. If he does not let things loose and they don't cover the spread, I'm still going to be okay with it. It's going to be fine. But a lot of people are already dropping off the Arch train so fast and so furiously. It's like a Vin Diesel movie. But I'm excited for this game just to scoreboard see. I'm not going to pay attention to it like I slightly did for that Purdue game, which, very interestingly, was a great game. Good job for Purdue. They beat the shit out of Ball State. Now let's talk about a noon window game here. The one that's going to start off the noon slate in week 2 here. Iowa State, Iowa. Battle for the Cyhawk Trophy at Iowa State. It's going to be a fun one. The question here is, can Iowa State finally win at home? Last time they won at home, 2011. Last time they won back-to-back, which is an opportunity here, was 2011, 2012. They haven't won a game by more than 3 points since 05. Since 05. We're looking at Army-Navy records here. The spread is 2.5, which is no surprise. No surprise. Iowa State -2.5. And the over-under 42.5. Now, when I looked at those games and I think about what is Iowa done to keep they lost the 2 of the last 3. I think it's solely because of quarterback play. They have not had great quarterbacks. They had Cade McNamara, a backup quarterback, Cade McNamara. I think that it's got to be done this year. I think Iowa is going to be a good team. They're going to have a quarterback, Mark Gronowski from San Diego State. He's supposed to be a stud from the FBS or FCS level. It's going to be fun to see. I expect them to win this game. I expect them to cover, and I expect just put Iowa. Iowa's one of my best bets. Put it on the board. Let me write that down. I didn't even think of that till now. Iowa is going to be one of my best bets. I think it's just easy. I know we haven't even watched an Iowa game. Let's be honest here. I think they played Albany or whatever. Last time we saw any of these teams, we watched Iowa State beat Kansas State, and Kansas State just had a tight game against North Dakota. Not North Dakota State, North Dakota. So, can Rocco Becht just throw it and run it up and down Iowa's football field? No. This game's going to be a very tight game if Iowa wins this game. I'm expecting this game to be a first person to double digits wins this game, and that's the only way Iowa State's going to win this game. The only way. First one to double digits. And if Iowa gets to double digits first, this game's over. It's over. It's got to be Iowa State needs to hold Iowa to 10 points and call it a game. That's specifically the only way I can see this. A old Big 12 rivalry game. It is the border war, Kansas versus Missouri. This one will be fun. Missouri is favored 6.5 in this game here. It is a quarterback matchup. Another transfer portal quarterback versus a quarterback who has stayed. Jalen Daniels versus Bo Perbula. Bo Perbula absolutely was stunning this past week. Amazing. But this is the first time this rivalry has been played since 2011. And this will be a two-headed storylines that could happen here. This is going to, one, strike fear. If Kansas wins this game, it's going to strike fear in the Big 12, and you're going to see Kansas slowly move up into that next tier in who's going to win the Big 12's title odds. Wow, what the hell was that? If Missouri wins, you are going to see a lot of questions on Is Missouri a different type of team? Are they that middle tier team? Are they that next caliber type of team who could probably go on and beat a couple of these really good teams and maybe make a chance to break into the playoff here? A lot of these quarterbacks in the SEC are kind of dual threat quarterbacks. You you can't beat facing a dual threat quarterback like Jalen Daniels. He's a great quarterback, great runner. He knows how to break out of the pocket and extend plays a little bit. This is the best practice you can get before you get into conference play, and this will be a fun one, and I expect this one to be a shootout. 51.5 is not what this spread should be. It should be a lot higher, I think. That is one of my best bets as well. Missouri, Kansas State over 51.5. I like it. I like it. Now let's get into a group of 5 non-conference game. Group of 5 versus Big 12 team. It is Darty time. West Virginia versus OU. Ohio University, not Oklahoma. They play Michigan. You dinguses. Here we go. OU just had a great game against Rutgers. I know Rutgers is not the best team to compare anyone to, but I will say this. West Virginia is not that good too. They lost a lot of people and a lot of transfers. This will be a slight test and a good look at to see how well West Virginia did throughout the season and throughout the offseason. I'm not expecting a lot. I'm not expecting a cover or anything like that. It's just going to be a fun one to see and just to look at the score, like on the scoreboard and go, oh, wow, that was actually a really good game. Good job for West Virginia there to absolutely beat the shit out of OU. And if not, we're looking at OU is probably going to be playing for the MAC championship again. Now another fun one here. Yeah, another fun one here. We're going to talk about Oregon versus Oklahoma State. This one should be great and fun. The spread is 27.5. This one wouldn't actually have been fun in like 2019, to be honest. Dante Moore, this will be the first time half of the country sees him for the first time since UCLA. I do not expect Oklahoma State to do too much here. I do not expect Oklahoma to be pushing the ball and throwing around Oregon at all. This is not the late 2010s and the early 2020s. This is not that same team. When Jim Knowles was the defensive coordinator there, this is not that type of team. I expect a lot of Oregon to be throwing it all over them and honestly running up the score. That's what Oregon likes to do. They like to run up the score, just like Penn State does. Penn State will make sure that you cover. I like Penn State just because of that. They will make sure you cover your bets. Oregon will kind of do the same thing. 27.5 Oregon. It's going to be a fun one to watch. So let's talk about two more games here. We got Mississippi State at home against Arizona State. This is going to be the first time a lot of people actually watch a Mississippi State game besides the people in Starkville. I don't know. I don't know why this is such a tight spread, 6.5. I mean, you would have told me yesterday, what do you think the spread for Arizona State, Mississippi State was going to be? I probably would have said like 10. 9.5, 10. I mean, I don't hate it from an Arizona State perspective. It's just, I think we just don't know too much about Mississippi State yet. They had a good running back when I was watching the Southern Missouri game. I was peeping it when I was watching 3 other games at the same time. It was kind of hard not to. They were throwing it all over Southern Miss, and I like Southern Miss as a Conference USA team, not an SEC team. But good for them for winning that game. I like Arizona State to cover and probably win this game. It's not going to be one of my best bets yet. We'll see what the line does at all. But my question is, does Vegas just factor in an SEC factor here? Or did the transfer portal actually show and like despair it? Like, you're an SEC team. We're going to start going towards SEC teams. Who knows, though? And our final game here, Michigan State versus Boston College. This will be the first time no one watches these two teams this game. This game is not going to be one of the main states. It's going to be one of your on a quad box on YouTube TV. It's going to be one that's sitting up top. Not going to be the one that you focus the most on compared to the Oklahoma-Michigan game probably. I believe it's a 2:30, or is it what time is this game? Yeah, it's a 6:30 game. So you're going to be watching the Arizona State Mississippi State, the Vandy Virginia Tech game, which we're going to go over later this week, and the Michigan Oklahoma game, and then you're going to see Boston College Michigan State. So that 6:30 slate is going to be very heavily focused towards that Michigan Oklahoma game. I don't know. I don't know about this. Does Boston College still have the same defense they used to have? I mean, uh, isn't it Bill O'Brien's their head coach still? I believe. It's just going to be a fun one to see. Aiden Childs versus a great Boston College defense. MSU was pretty dormant against Western Michigan. I hope it's not the same that we see throughout the season. I expect them to be good. The spread's 2.5. I like Michigan State enough to bet it again. I just don't know about this team at all. Like they didn't prove it to me that they could just win by 40 against Western Michigan. They did not. They didn't obviously show it at all because they won 26-20 or 23-6. So I like Michigan State -2.5 is a good enough spread for me. And this will just show how big of a gap Michigan State is to that lower level ACC team is. All right, and so that's all the show is that we're going to have today. Again, our best bets, Iowa -2.5. Or Iowa +2.5. My bad. Iowa +2.5. Honestly, Iowa money line. Kansas, Missouri over 51.5. Michigan State -2.5. Thank you for watching. It was a great time. Have a good one, guys. And subscribe and like a video, please.